like to call this meeting to order of the Geneva Historic Preservation Commission for Tuesday, July 20th, 2021. First thing on our agenda is a roll call. Celeste, do you want to call the roll?
I can. Hartman?
Here.
McManus?
Here.
Solomon?
No.
Stazen?
No.
Oh, Solomon and Stazen are not present then.
Yes, they are not present.
Okay. Zinke?
Here.
And Chairman Zelmer.
Here.
Okay, you have a quorum with 4.
Great, thank you. Okay, the next thing on our agenda is the approval of meeting minutes for June 15th, 2021. Does anyone have any comments about the meeting minutes? If not, can I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes as presented?
I move that the minutes be accepted as presented.
I second.
Okay,
Okay, and that was Zinke and then, is that who was
it
that?
was
Hartman?
Hartman seconded.
Thank you. Just double checking.
Sure.
Do you want to do all in favor or do you want me to call the roll?
You should call the roll because I think we'll.
Okay. Hartman?
Here.
I
Oh, I'm
For the
sorry.
minutes.
Sorry. Aye.
That's okay. McManus?
Aye.
All right. Zinke?
Aye.
And Chairman Zelmer.
Aye. McManus, you
Yeah, pass.
abstained, right?
Should I?
You weren't here last time?
Yeah. Okay,
Okay, I'll mark you as abstained.
thank you.
Okay. Okay, the next item on our agenda is the 5-minute field guide. It is back. Go ahead, Michael.
Thank you, Chairman Zelmer. We are reinstituting the 5-minute field guide. Tonight, I thought it'd be appropriate for several reasons to have a 5-minute field guide and telling the full story, cultural geography, and preservation. Last year, as many of you know, the National Trust for Historic Preservation launched a campaign urging Americans to tell the full story. This campaign challenges preservationists, such as commissioners, to identify the history that is embodied in our historic buildings and neighborhoods. Those histories, our cultural heritage, may be unfamiliar or long forgotten to many. Although preservationists are often derided as the appearance police or as purveyors of stagnation, the important goal of preservation practice is to retain those authentic places and materials that represent how our communities were shaped by the life experiences of our predecessors, whether that was 2 centuries ago or just a generation ago. Community preservation, like culture itself, is an evolutionary process bestowing significance on places that are valued, whether they are valued favorably or critically. As preservationists, we sometimes get bogged down in the overall beauty of a property. For many people, preservation is simply a recognition of architectural form or an obsessive determination of architectural style. However, as preservationists, we focus on the details, the architectural details and the cultural details, in our efforts to preserve the authentic elements of a notable site, building, or space. Certainly, a large number of buildings and structures are noteworthy because of their high level of design. However, an even larger number of buildings seem to the casual observer to be less important. The ability to understand the details of a site's cultural history becomes increasingly more important in those cases. It is absolutely essential that a preservationist is able to evaluate and determine both integrity and significance. And it is the issue of significance that confounds many. Often I have been asked why I include so much evolutionary history in my staff reports, because most people value a property only for the architecture itself. But architecture alone is rarely the full story that needs to be told. As in many communities, the properties within the Geneva Historic District seem to be similar to one another. So in order to determine their individual and collective significance, we must first understand and then articulate the stories that are represented within the architectural details of an individual property or a grouping of properties. Aside from their craftsmanship, whether highly artistic or modest, the majority of individual buildings and their environmental setting have become cherished because of the people associated with them: immigrants, factory workers, indigenous groups, marginalized groups, civic and business leaders, architects, builders, and others. These are places that collectively represent and memorialize the individuals and events that shaped a community. Authentic, memorable landscapes created through human interaction. The study of these interactions is known as cultural geography. Now, cultural geography was something that was introduced to me in my preservation studies some 40 years ago by one of my professors at the University of Illinois. In broad terms, cultural geography examines the cultural values, practices, material expressions, and artifacts of people. Additionally, cultural geography examines how cultures are distributed over space, how place and identities are produced over time, how people make sense of places and build senses of place, and how people produce and communicate knowledge and meaning. Cultural geography, a field of study that emerged in the late 19th century, led to the establishment of many of the earliest university historic preservation programs. It appears to be a complex tool of evaluation. The traditional study of cultural geography was challenged in the 1980s by new thinking that led to a broader cultural turn in the discipline. From the perspective of new cultural geography, landscape and environments were not simply a material artifact that reflected culture in straightforward ways, but those places were laden with symbolic meaning that needed to be decoded with respect to social and historical context. As a result, since the 1980s, cultural geography has developed to examine the broad range of ways in which culture evolves and makes a difference to everyday life and places with respect to issues such as disability, ethnicity, gender, race, and sexuality, as well as larger issues such as imperialism, nationalism, colonialism, and religion. Hence, now in 2021, we are talking about telling the full story. Many university historic preservation programs incorporate cultural geography in some form in their training of future preservationists. They undertake this training to teach the concern for common landscapes, vernacular architecture, and practical application. Preservation students learn to document, preserve, and interpret historic structures, objects, and places within the context of their cultural landscape setting. By identifying properties in this manner, preservation practitioners are able to more clearly define significance, periods of significance, integrity, and details of notable properties. Then we can better tell the full story through preservation. Cultural geography, therefore, is at the root of telling the full story through preservation, as we are being called to do. That is the end of my 5-minute field guide. Any questions or comments?
I'll just say thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. The next item on our agenda is a review of building permit application for 228 North First Street. Go ahead, Michael.
Thank you, Chairman Zellmer. Tonight's case before us is for a proposed shed dormer addition at a contributing property. The property is located at 228 North First Street, which is located in the far northeastern section of our locally designated Geneva Historic District, and in the northeast corner of the North Geneva Historic District listed in the National Register of Historic Places. The property dates back to the beginning of Geneva, is part of the original town, but it appears the house was built sometime around 1852 to 1854. The property originally included 4 lots at the corner of First and Ford Street. Over time, it reduced to its present size. The house was built most likely by Eben Conant, who was an early settler and an early carpenter, but he never lived in this house. Apparently, the house was sold to Andrew McWayne in 1855, and he later sold the house back to Eben Conant or transferred it back to Eben Conant. By 1857, the house served as the office of Dr. Wesley Humphrey, who was one of Geneva's first doctors. He, along with Dr. William LeBaron, who arrived in 1844, and A.T. Dusenberry, who arrived in 1854, 1855, made up the three first permanent physicians in the community. Dr. Charles Volney Dyer had been here earlier, but had gone to Chicago to maintain his practice. So Dr. Humphrey and his family, his wife and two children, lived in this house until the outbreak of the Civil War, at which time he joined the Union Army and then rose through the ranks and eventually, as a surgeon, volunteered to serve the 1st Alabama Volunteer Infantry Regiment, which was an African-American company that was established in May of 1863. In 1864, Dr. Humphrey retired from active duty in the Civil War and then served several of the general wartime hospitals, treating wounded veterans until the close of the war. After the close of the war, in 1865, it's unclear whether or not Dr. Humphrey came back to Geneva to this house. If he did, he only stayed briefly before moving to Mexico, Missouri. But the house stayed in the Humphrey family because he sold it to his youngest brother, Edgar R. Humphrey, who, along with his wife, moved from New York and stayed in this house until their deaths Helen Humphrey died in 1912. So for over 40 years, the house stayed in the Humphrey family. After that time, during that time, the house was expanded to its current form. So the additions that you see to the south and west are 19th century additions, not 20th century additions, as I had originally supposed they might have been. So they are actually authentic historic additions. The proposal is to raise a portion of the roof to allow headroom at an existing bathroom area that is to be remodeled. Again, the walls and the exterior walls at the house are very low, being a 1.5-story house. The addition is fairly minor, but it is on a visible facade facing Ford Street, and it is the width of the minimum width of the remodeled bathroom. There's the views, and again, a section through the property so that you can see that it is a minimal addition to the roof. One of the questions I raised in the staff analysis is the appropriateness of the windows. The windows have all been replaced as part of the 1993 remodeling. They are all vinyl 1/1 windows, so they are double hung windows, but they are a vinyl window. And so the proposal is to have a single light window in the dormer, but for discussion's sake or for comparison's sake, I guess, I am showing what a triple light window would have looked like coming out of that period in the dormer location. The question before the commission, again, is the proposed vinyl window appropriate based on the existing modification of the house? They are proposing a vinyl window. And is a 3-light frieze window of fiberglass or wood more appropriate to the historic period of the house, or does it create a sense of false historicism? Outside of that, the addition is being proposed to have a cement fiber siding on the dormer. As I said, the house is sided currently in a synthetic siding, so there is no historic siding exposed, and the condition of the historic siding is unknown at this time. With that, the applicant is here along with her architect, so Molly Harvey is the applicant, and Mark Van Kerkhoff is the architect. So they are here to elaborate on the details or answer any of your questions that may not have been covered in the staff report. And I can go to any view you would like.
Okay. Hi, my name is Molly Harvey. I live at 228 North First Street along with my husband Casey, who's not present tonight. I'm a real estate agent. We purchased the home a little over 5 years ago, and it was a foreclosure in very rough shape. So it looks a lot cuter than the pictures that he had up there just a minute ago. We do have 2 bathrooms in the house. We've got one on the first floor. We have the second one on the second floor. However, because the ceiling does start low due to the 1.5 story, and it actually continues to lower to the outside, we do not have a shower in that second bathroom upstairs, just a bathtub. Additionally, it's a little difficult to stand and use the toilet if you need to. So that being said, we were looking at bumping out the roof to add the headroom to be able to allow a full shower, as well as expand the bathroom a little bit wider. There's some dead space behind the bathtub to be able to kind of shift the bathtub over. So my dad is Mark Van Kerkhoff. He's our architect, and he does specialize in historic buildings. So I'm going to let him explain the rest of the project.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, my name is Mark Van Kerkhoff. I'm a licensed architect in the state of Illinois. I do specialize in working on historic homes. This is a bit of a pinch me moment for me. My wife and I, soon after we were married and relocated to St. Charles in the late 80s, were able to purchase an 1846 farmhouse just west of St. Charles, the Daniel Lincoln Homestead, and do an addition to it for our then one child that we had, but have that designated as a King County landmark. Sort of a great moment to be able to live in, design an addition to a historic home. So Molly was born and raised in that house, so she grew up, around historic homes and projects that I was involved with, including our own home. So when she and her husband Casey decided to locate locally and then purchase a home in Geneva, we were thrilled. And it was a great place to start. They loved the location by downtown, so she started talking to me about how do we make this bathroom livable. So both for their budget and also for the historic, being in a historic district. So basically we took the approach of minimal expansion of the bathroom to create headroom. I sort of took the approach of if they had done this when they put the bathroom in to begin with, what would they have done? They probably would have just hinged up the roof and done a simple shed roof dormer. You see it on vernacular small homes like this all over not only Geneva but the country, and add a small window for interest and some light into the room. In terms of materials, the existing house already has aluminum siding, as Michael mentioned, and the windows, none of the windows are original on it at all. So over the life cycle of the home, someone may remove the aluminum siding, and that would give an opportunity to bring that back. So we felt that hardy board was a good solution for a material that's generally acceptable on historic additions and would match what's there currently, but also kind of set the pace for future investments in the house if that were to happen. And then the choice of the vinyl window, again being an addition, the Secretary of Standards wisely focuses on historic replacement of materials and windows, and they give a little bit more leeway on material selection for additions or replacement of non-historic features. Like Michael, I've been in the preservation field for quite a long time, and fortunately there's been a lot of improvements in non-traditional materials that are available for homeowners and builders and architects to select from, and the quality has increased. So for my daughter's house, I feel good about their selection for doing the hardy board and vinyl window. The other, I'm sorry. Yeah, and then particularly because of it being the moisture buildup in a bathroom, to do even a exterior vinyl clad wood window on the interior would be tough long term in a bathroom environment. And then in addition to what's before you for the addition tonight, they also discovered the window. If you see below the dormer, the smaller window, which is an odd shape, you can see it's not exactly at the same head height or size as the others. That corresponds with the only other bathroom in the house. That window happens to be located in the shower, which is not the best place for a window in the shower, and we discovered recently that that window is broken. It's a vinyl window. It's also not tempered glass, which is a code requirement in a bathroom like that. So they would also like to replace that in kind with another vinyl window, again, because it's an existing vinyl window. It's in the shower. The only other alternative would be to remove the window entirely, but with the aluminum siding, it would be pretty tough to match that up. I wouldn't be surprised if in the future, if someone did reside the house, that they wouldn't remove that window entirely and have a clean look on the facade. So it's kind of, in a sense, a reversible temporary solution to a issue with that window. And same with the shed roof addition. You could consider that to be a reversible feature on the home as well. So with that, happy to answer any questions that you have of either Molly or myself.
Nobody's going to say anything?
Asphalt shingles on the shed roof? Is that what I see it on the drawing? Is that correct?
Yes, yep, that's the plan on that. It would match the existing house, use ice and water dam material under the entire area of the dormer.
Shingles, though. So what pitch is that?
It is right on the edge of
A 3 or above?
yeah, it's right on the edge, but with the ice and water dam material underneath, it's going to resist that seep underneath. You're probably not really going to see, except from maybe from a distance. But
Yeah, right.
to do another material, either a composite rubber roof or metal, I think would call attention to the roof as opposed to.
You have to stand pretty far back to even see it, really.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I guess I'd like to say that I am delighted that this is what you're doing, because it is so fitting with the house. We have had other projects that have come to us that in some cases overwhelmed the original house, and I just love how you have done something which looks like it was done back when the house was built. And I noticed this afternoon when I was driving south on First Street that about on the east side of the street, about 3 blocks south of State, there's a house on the corner that has a dormer almost exactly like you're putting on yours. And I hadn't noticed it before until today. So thank you for what you're doing.
Any comments, Lisa?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say. I mean, it really, you can still see the front facade. It's all still there. And it's almost as if that is almost in the backdrop. It seems very discreet. So, yeah, I don't see any problems with it.
Does anyone have any issues with the vinyl window?
Is the question whether we have an issue with the fact that the window is vinyl, or do we have the question with the fact that, actually, can you take me back to the photograph of the front of the actual house? So this is how the windows look today, too? So were you thinking, because I know, Michael, you in your analysis had said something about it's not the window that's being proposed not looking colonial, like a classic without, having the muttons and all of that. Is that what?
I think what he was, I shouldn't put words in your mouth, I'm sorry.
You may if you'd like. But no, what I was just saying was that typically for this period, a small window like that in a freeze would have been a 3-light window.
Yeah.
However, because all the windows have been replaced, there's no more 6/6, it's kind of an incongruous issue as to whether you should put a historically divided light in a modern addition.
Right.
So my point is that I think that's an item the commission should discuss because, again, we've tried very hard here to not create false historicism. If something's of the 21st century, this commission's viewpoint has been pretty much to let it be of the 21st century. But I thought that I did need to bring that out to you, looking at both the Secretary of Interior standards and our own window policy. This is kind of a gray area. It's not really, this actual proposal is not actually specifically covered in our window policy.
Yeah.
Vinyl windows typically are not approved in the historic district because vinyl windows typically cannot meet the proportions and the character of a historic wood window. But again, I think because it's kind of a gray area the way the window policy is written, for a new addition with a new window that never existed in a contributing building, but it is on a prominent facade, but there's no historic window to match. I think it's you need to have that discussion. I think in whatever motion you make, I think you need to make note of why if you approve a vinyl window and you approve a 1-light window, why you're making that exception, so that's in the record for future consideration.
I see. What material are the existing windows made from? Are they vinyl as well, or are they?
I think the window, so the windows in the front, so the 4 windows you can see on the front, as well as the window to the north next to the bathroom window that we're talking about, those windows I do believe are wood. The windows in the back that you can see, so facing the west side of the house, the north and west, those windows I do believe are vinyl.
I see.
But they are all replacement windows, like
Right,
since
correct.
1950 at the.
Yeah.
And the bathroom window, that's the downstairs bathroom window that we're trying to replace because it's broken, that one is currently a vinyl window, not tempered glass, so that's a safety issue, and again, because they're both in bathrooms, is why we're looking for vinyl rather than wood.
I see.
And just as a clarification, this afternoon I did spend a little time preparing for this conversation. I looked at all the major window manufacturers, and none of them are recommending a wood window in a wet environment like a bathroom. I was trying to even find if they would warranty a window in a wet location. And so a couple of companies offer a fiberglass, all fiberglass window. Mixed reviews in the companies as to whether they're even as strong as a vinyl window. And again, if you're in a bathroom area, I think that's a consideration. They're wanting to put tempered glass in because of the risk of a window in the bathroom area. So again, there does not seem to be a wood or a metal clad option that fits in their conditions. And the difference between a vinyl and a fiberglass window, in looking at information that's available online from the companies, doesn't look like there's either a big difference in aesthetics or in quality or strength.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think it's a window in a new application too, and an application for, a wood window in that scenario doesn't even make any sense, then why would we be asking for it? And I believe that, and you were also bringing up the divided light element there too, and I don't see it anywhere else in the house, so I think that would be requesting something that's sort of a
Yeah, I agree with that.
anomaly, yeah.
The second window, the second window you're asking to be replaced, would it be a false double hung look, or would it be just a regular double hung window again?
It would be the exact same window that's there,
Oh,
just
okay.
tempered glass and same
Tempered
dimensions
glass,
and
okay.
everything, yeah.
Okay.
Now
Yeah,
you don't mean, I think, when you say it's the exact same window, you don't mean you're going to take that window out, change the glass, and then put that
Correct.
window back.
Correct. It would be a brand-new window.
Brand-new window,
Same
okay.
dimension, same material.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
same
but a
look.
brand-new
New
window.
vinyl window that matches the old one.
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, okay,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I have no concern with the vinyl windows in a bathroom area, but eventually the rest of the windows will probably be replaced if they were replaced if they were in 93, especially the wood windows. So is that going to allow for the rest of the windows to be vinyl? When that bottom sash rail is not going to have, it's going to be the bottom rail on the bottom sash is not going to meet the requirements on the historic window.
Well, I guess I'd rather let the commission that is sitting at that time make that decision.
Well, and I will tell you what your window policy says, if you would like to hear that. So this is a contributing building, and there is no historic window to assess. They're replacement windows outside of the period of significance. So that leaves you to this sentence that says, if the evaluation determines the repair is not feasible, which there's no historic window, replacement should be of detailing, proportions, operation, function, and styling that are consistent with that of the original or existing historic windows. So there are no historic windows, so the commission, by this window policy, would be required to approve windows that would match what was originally there. Reading further, that they may be fabricated by contemporary alternate material, for example, aluminum-clad wood windows. So an aluminum-clad window could be put in there, but the commission would have to consider the proportions and the details of those future replacement windows.
Okay.
However, it says here somewhere, I didn't highlight that portion. So for the new edition, which the dormer is, that allows you to look at alternate materials. So again, that's not as big of an issue as the other windows in the historic portion of the house.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
And in terms of the buttons in the new window, I agree with Lisa that having the divided lights or the simulated divided lights just doesn't seem to work with this house.
And there is no vinyl or fiberglass window that allows for muttons that meet our standard. They are only between the glass muttons in fiberglass and vinyl, at least all the ones I could find online. I looked at, I think, 5 or 6 major companies, so they would not be
Okay.
surface-mounted muttons per our window policy.
Okay.
So I don't mean to play devil's advocate here, but if,
But do so.
I will. If they came back and the next homeowner that you sell this house to says, I want to change out these windows, and it were still under the same window policy, would we allow vinyl in the rest of the home?
I don't think your window policy allows for that.
I don't think it does either.
Right.
I mean, that was the first line I read that says it must
Yeah.
replicate the originals.
Yep.
So, and I, it's a quandary because we could say that both of these windows, that we would allow vinyl windows within bathrooms only.
Well, I think
That's,
if the window's in a shower stall, which is the way I understand,
It is, yes.
I think a window in a shower stall and a window in a bathroom the window is not in the shower stall, I myself think that those are two different situations. There's a whole lot of moisture if it's in a shower stall.
correct, I understand.
And I actually have lived in 3 houses where there have been windows in the shower stalls. So I think that might be something that we would have to discuss at that time. I could see that we could say that that our window policy indicates that it should be a wood window, or should we? I myself would say that would follow the window policy if the wood window was in the bathroom, but it was not
In the
in
shower?
the shower.
Okay. Because I'm just concerned about, a little bit of concerned about precedents.
Yes.
Not as, for some reason, well, the vinyl window that's in the dormer is not actually in the shower, though.
Correct.
So
But it's in a new
it-
addition.
it's in a new addition. So I'm just trying to kind of work it out in my head
Oh.
to make sure
well,
that,
I thought when I looked at the floor plan, I thought that it was. No?
Third one is not.
the upstairs is
Above
not.
the toilet.
For the toilet behind it.
Oh, it's above the toilet.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's where it is. Oh.
yeah. And so, but,
But it is gonna be a fixed window.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be able to open.
correct. But I, our window policy would allow this because it's never existed.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
yeah, okay, all right.
And that's why I'm asking, when you craft the motion, that
That
you're
we
very
be very
clear.
specific about
There's
it.
two different situations. If you choose to allow vinyl, to specifically clarify why you're allowing vinyl in these two situations.
Because it's a new addition and because,
Well, it's a new addition. I think that's the only thing that
And-
lets it off the,
And the existing one on the first floor they want to replace is in an actual
shower. Yeah,
so the next time someone comes and is putting in a new addition and they have all wood windows on the first floor and they want to put in all vinyl windows on the second floor, aren't we going to be in trouble?
Well, not if it states that it's, what you were saying is it only in a shower.
well, no, we're talking about that now because we know the one upstairs is not actually in the
Oh,
shower.
correct.
Yeah. I thought it had been.
So that's where, you know, it, would our window policy allow them to do vinyl windows in an addition on a major facade? A major facade being,
And
it's
the-
visible from
Yeah,
the
on the
street.
north street, yeah. It has,
I'm not trying to be difficult on
Can
this. Sure.
if I could point out the size of the overall bathroom is 8 feet by 5 feet, which is about the size of many contemporary showers.
I know.
So
And
it
so we're
it is
talking
very
about-
small,
The
still
window
going to
is-
have
the window
a,
is 12 by 24, I believe.
12 by
It's very
24.
small, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no issues with those vinyl windows, even on the addition part,
Well, I-
excluded from the shower.
but would you have a problem with a more prominent addition coming before us saying that they want to use vinyl windows because we've set the precedent that you can use a vinyl window in the historic district on a prominent thing?
I'm reading the window policy. I think there's one caveat that there are no historic windows to match at this
Okay.
point.
there are
So if
no
you-
historic windows to match.
Correct. So if you, and the windows that have been replaced outside of the period of significance for the historic district.
Okay.
So I think that if somebody came in at some future point and had historic windows in their home that were put in before within the period of significance, and they were asking to put vinyl windows on the second floor, I think you would be able to rely back on item 1 under your window replacement policy that says, no, they have to match the original windows. in
original
material,
windows.
Whatever, but there are no second floor windows on this house that haven't been replaced, well, they've all been replaced, the entire
They've all
house.
been replaced.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay.
And that happened in the early 90s.
Well, the original remodel was in the 90s, I believe. I can't find a window permit for the replacement, but we do know that windows sneak in on weekends and what have you now and then. So I don't know when the bathroom and the rear, the west-facing vinyl windows were installed, but sometime between 1993 and 2007.
When they would have had to have a permit and they would have had to come before the commission.
Correct,
See, so that's why there's vinyl windows there.
correct.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Well, I don't really have a problem with the final window, to tell you the truth. I just want to make sure that we're not going down a road that,
Right,
people
right.
say that we're not being consistent in what we're
Right.
doing. So, and does anyone have a problem with replacing in kind the shower stall window?
No.
No.
No, I guess, no.
Okay.
And we're not trying to give you a hard time.
No, that's okay.
No, we're
We're
trying
just,
to,
we're,
I appreciate, I mean, I live in the historic district. I
Okay.
appreciate that you guys are responding this way, because I, you
Okay.
know, it's.
all right. We just have to make sure that everyone is treated with the same set of rules.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
okay. Well, with that, I think we've got consensus. Is someone ready to,
Not me.
Oh, boy.
oh,
I'll do it.
I look to you, but I'll look to you
All right,
now.
here we go. So, okay, I move to approve the, what am I approving?
The new addition.
The dormer addition at 228 North First Street. Is the other window also up for approval as well?
It
And
is,
the,
it is. They've
the
snuck
vinyl
that in.
window at the bathroom on the first floor, because there are no historic windows to match, and because the window is in an addition in a new application.
And the window in the first floor
And
is,
the window in the first floor is in a fully wet environment. That's all I've got to say. Does that sound about right?
It does.
Celeste, can you read that back, please? Celeste?
are you there?
I will do my, yeah, I'm here. Let me get this the way I kind of heard it, because it was kind of in and out. Motion by Commissioner, is it McManus?
Yes.
To approve the new dormer addition, was it 228 North
First.
Street.
First Street? With the vinyl, you had with the vinyl window on the first floor, because there was no historic windows to match, and because the window is in a new addition, but then you say the window in the first floor is in a wet environment.
Right,
it's
so
kinda
basically, do you want me
lost.
to, maybe I could categorize these things. So I could say, I move to approve
Okay,
the projects maybe at, well, I move to approve
The proposal?
the proposal at 228 North First Street, including the addition, which includes a vinyl window, because there are no historic windows to match it, and because it's in an addition in a new application. And I move to approve the window in the first floor, the vinyl window in the first floor bathroom, because it's in a fully wet environment.
Okay. Sounds good.
let me try this again. Okay, so motion to approve the proposed at 228 North First Street, including the new vinyl window, because there are no historic windows to match, and because the window is in a new addition. The window on the first floor is approved because it is in a fully wet environment.
I think the window
Does that work?
replacement in kind, quote,
Which, for
unquote,
the window replacement?
yes, on the first floor.
On the first floor, for the first floor? Okay. All right, so the window replacement in the first floor is approved because it is in a fully wet environment. Does that work?
Yes.
I think we just want to, we want to sneak the word vinyl in there somewhere, the vinyl window replacement.
Yep, okay, let me do that.
Okay.
the vinyl window replacement on the first floor, okay, is approved because it is in a fully wet environment. Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Then
Do we
you
have a
get-
second, I guess?
I would second that.
Hartman
Hartman,
seconds. Okay. And I'll do roll call. Okay, Hartman,
aye.
McManus,
Aye.
Zinke,
Aye.
and Chairman Zelmer.
Aye.
Yeah, passes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Great, thank
Thank you very much.
When,
Thanks for
when,
coming.
when do you get to start, do you think?
Hopefully next month.
Next month?
Yeah.
Okay.
2022,
Yeah.
When you can get lumber that's a reasonable price.
Small addition. Lumber is going to stay low.
Yeah.
Great, well,
Very
thank you very
good.
much.
So much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Okay. Next on our agenda is the Secretary's report.
Thank you, Chairman Zelmer. I don't have very much this evening, but I do want to remind you that there is a conceptual review for Hamilton Place, which is also known as the Citron property at 7th and State. A small portion, the northeast corner of that parcel is in the historic district, so if any of you are interested, that will be held here in this room at 7 o'clock on this Thursday, the 22nd.
Of this month.
Of this month, yes. So right now it's conceptual. And so following that, we may see some actual development plans here at this commission, but right now it will be just heard in front of the planning commission.
Does the plan, in the packet for the planning commission, is there any paperwork, any drawings, any something?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, so in the commission packet for Thursday, July 22nd's Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, the concept review includes 2 elevations of what was presented to development staff in April. There are 3 concepts. There's A, B, and C. A and B propose 51 to 53 townhome units, 3 stories, between 11 buildings. No commercial mixed-use component along State Street. And then concept C includes 36 townhome units between 9 buildings. That concept does include a strictly commercial component on State Street, which is right now conceptually they're thinking a drive-through. So there is some additional information in the packet, so if you're interested, definitely take a look at that. But the meeting will also be live streamed if you want to watch from home.
What's the address of this? Where are we talking about?
What's known by some as the old Citron property that was proposed for the Marquette Apartments about 6 years ago. So it's at 7th and State and
Oh.
Right by the light.
Richard Street.
Yeah, yeah.
By the
Okay, I know
7-Eleven.
exactly what you're talking
Oh,
about.
7-Eleven.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just west.
Just west of the 7-Eleven.
And there are 2
Okay.
buildings proposed. The concept I saw, right, just 2 buildings proposed on that northeast corner that would be in the historic district.
So I believe there's actually 3, yeah.
And any of it going to be affordable housing?
I knew you were going to say that.
As of right now, I believe it's going to be market rate.
So we're talking $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 buildings again.
Not sure about that, but I'm sure they'll probably elaborate on that on Thursday.
There has to be some place for young teachers to live in this town.
Yeah.
And other young professionals. Oh, well, I'm sorry.
I have nothing else on my staff report.
Okay. Do we have any new business from the commission? No? And we have no public left, so,
There's also no public right now on the virtual application.
okay, very good. Okay, with that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
A second?
Mr. Harmon seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
Okay.